A familiar intro played across the venue. There was a gasp, then silence, then thunderous cheers. Because right there, stepping confidently onto the stage after months of absence, was none other than Jin, BTS's oldest member, finally returning to sing one of the group's most iconic songs, Spring Day. But all eyes weren't just on Jin. Cameras instantly caught the exact second Jungkook realized what was happening, and his face lit up with a joy so genuine, so childlike, it instantly stole the show. Why was Jungkook smiling like that? Why did his entire body seem to bounce with excitement, eyes wide, lips parted in disbelief before curling into the biggest grin he's worn in months? What did that one song, Spring Day, mean to him in that exact moment? And most importantly, what happened after the performance that had fans screaming, laughing, and crying from pure happiness? Let's break down this unforgettable moment that's still trending across the world, and dive into the bright, powerful bond that lit up the room the second Jin and Jungkook shared a stage again. It all began earlier that day. Fans had gathered in anticipation, some already buzzing with theories. Would Jin appear? Would any member surprise the crowd? The whispers got louder, but no one could predict that the opening melody of Spring Day would trigger a wave of excitement so strong that even BTS themselves couldn't hide their reactions. Jin stepped into the spotlight with confidence. His voice was steady, familiar, comforting. But at that very moment, the camera cut to Jungkook sitting among the members, and suddenly, it was like watching a fanboy come to life. Jungkook's eyes widened the moment he recognized the intro. His mouth dropped open in delighted shock, and within seconds, he was clapping and laughing with the kind of unfiltered happiness that only comes when you see someone you love doing something extraordinary. He leaned forward, eyes locked on Jin, nodding to the beat as the lyrics began. He didn't look like a global superstar. He looked like a proud little brother seeing his older sibling shine. The camera caught him mouthing the lyrics along with Jin, tapping his foot, hands moving rhythmically in midair. And the smile? It never left his face. In fact, he looked even happier than the fans in the arena. And then came the moment that truly sparked laughter and cheers. Midway through the song, Jin made eye contact with Jungkook. Not once, not twice, but again and again. The two locked eyes like they were in on some beautiful secret. Jin gave a playful nod, and Jungkook, completely unable to hide his enthusiasm, threw both hands up in the air and started swaying dramatically, almost dancing in his seat. It was joy. Pure and simple. And the audience? They went wild. Screens lit up across the stadium as fans captured Jungkook's every expression. Twitter exploded. Clips of his reaction were replayed millions of times within minutes. Why? Because Jungkook wasn't just reacting to the performance. He was celebrating it, celebrating Jin, celebrating their journey, celebrating the reunion that every army around the world had been waiting for. And oh, tears this time. No heavy emotion. Just the kind of happiness that comes from watching someone you admire do what they were born to do, and doing it flawlessly. And the best part? After the performance ended, Jungkook didn't just sit still. He jumped to his feet. He clapped. He whistled. He shouted Jin's name with such pride that even Jin laughed from the stage. Then, to the surprise of fans and even the staff backstage, Jungkook made his way over to Jin once he exited. And though it wasn't broadcast on the main screen, fan cams caught it. Jungkook wrapping Jin in a playful hug from behind, laughing loudly, saying, "Hyung, you still got it." To which Jin, always the jokester, replied, "Of course I do. Were you doubting me, Magne?" The two laughed, and the atmosphere around them buzzed with energy. This wasn't just about a song. It was about homecoming. Jin, fresh from his service, stepping right back into his place, not as a soldier, but as an artist, a performer, a brother. And Jungkook? He was the living proof that time can't dull what BTS built together. His beaming face, his cheers, his sheer excitement. It reminded everyone that BTS is more than just a band. It's a bond. The fans weren't just watching a performance. They were watching a reunion. One filled with playfulness, celebration, and the kind of genuine love that doesn't need dramatic music or slow-motion cuts to be felt. Jungkook's reaction was the highlight because it was real. He wasn't trying to be cool. He wasn't trying to hold back. He was just happy that his Hyung was back. Happy that their music still echoes in the hearts of millions. Happy that, even after months apart, the magic was still there, stronger than ever. So the next time someone asks, why do fans love BTS so much? Show them this moment. Show them Jungkook's face when Jin sang Spring Day, because in that one instant, cheering, clapping, full of life, Jungkook reminded the world what it means to truly love, support, and celebrate the people you call family. As the cheers began to settle and the lights shifted for the next segment of the night, the one person who couldn't seem to stop smiling was still very much caught in the glow of what had just happened. Yes, Jungkook. He wasn't just clapping anymore. He was glowing. Even minutes after Jin had walked off the stage, the youngest member of BTS still looked like he had witnessed something magical. And truthfully, he had, but what the cameras didn't show during the live broadcast is what made the moment even more unforgettable, because behind the curtain, just a few steps away from the glowing stage, Jin and Jungkook reunited in a way that left even the staff stunned. Let's rewind for a second. Jungkook's joyful reaction during Spring Day already had fans losing their minds. The way he moved to the beat, laughed, waved his arms, and cheered like a proud younger brother was enough to trend worldwide within minutes. But what most people didn't realize was Jungkook wasn't just reacting to a performance. He had no idea that Jin would sing that specific song. The setlist was kept tightly under wraps, even from the other BTS members. Why? Because Jin wanted it to be a surprise, especially for Jungkook, and it worked. Backstage sources revealed that Jin personally requested Spring Day the night before the performance. When asked why he chose that song, Jin reportedly smiled and said, because it's the one song Jungkook always sings under his breath when he thinks no one's listening. And so, the stage was set. When Jin stepped out and sang the first note, Jungkook didn't just see his Hyung on stage. He saw a moment built just for him, one that echoed years of brotherhood, inside jokes, and warm memories. After the lights faded and the applause ended, fans expected the performers to rest, regroup, or prepare for the next act. But not Jungkook. The moment Jin disappeared backstage, Jungkook bolted, with no hesitation, still smiling from ear to ear. He slipped behind the curtain. And there, surrounded by staff and backup crew, he greeted Jin with open arms, a big laugh, and words that melted everyone's hearts. Hyung, that was perfect. You really sang it for me, didn't you? Jin, with his classic wide grin, patted Jungkook on the head and joked, don't flatter yourself. But yeah, maybe I did. The two laughed, hugged again, and the energy in the room instantly lifted. But that wasn't all. More staff gathered around to congratulate Jin. It was Jungkook who stood beside him the entire time, like a proud little brother introducing a superstar. He didn't want to leave his side. He made sure everyone clapped, gave Jin water, complimented his vocals, and even asked the photographers to get a good shot of Jin Hyung because this comeback needs to be remembered. The dynamic was electric. Jungkook wasn't just supporting Jin, he was celebrating him, and the joy on his face said it all. This wasn't an act. This wasn't performance mode. This was the real Jungkook, the same Jungkook who grew up under Jin's guidance, who looked up to him during their rookie days, and who now had the chance to welcome him back with all the love and admiration in the world. One particularly heartwarming moment came when Jungkook pulled out his phone and showed Jin a video. It was a clip from rehearsal days, years ago, where Jin was singing Spring Day and Jungkook, only 20 at the time, was off to the side harmonizing with a silly voice. They laughed so hard, staff nearby had to pause their interviews. It was a simple moment, but it showed how deep their connection truly runs. Even now, years and milestones later, these two still find joy in the small things. Still, fans were left wondering, was this just a one-time special moment, or does this signal something more? Because if you watched Jungkook's face closely, there was more than just excitement there. There was readiness. Almost as if he, too, couldn't wait to step back on stage alongside Jin. And not as audience, but as performers. As brothers. As BTS. And let's not forget, Jungkook isn't one to exaggerate emotions. When he's quiet, you know it. When he's playful, you feel it. But when he's truly inspired, he becomes unstoppable. Later that evening, sources say Jungkook went straight to the vocal room with one of their longtime producers. The reason? He wanted to record a small acoustic version of Spring Day, just his voice and a guitar, to gift to Jin as a welcome back surprise. IT wasn't meant for the public. Not for streaming. Not for charts. Just for Jin. Just between them. This act alone sent the entire staff into emotional overdrive. Who else but BTS would go to such personal lengths just to show appreciation, support, and love? Who else could turn a stage moment into a full-circle reunion? It's no wonder fans say they don't just follow the music, they follow the story. And right now, that story is building towards something bigger. Jungkook's reaction wasn't just happy, it was hopeful. The look in his eyes said, "We're back. And we're not done yet." So the question remains, after that beautiful performance and the radiant response from Jungkook, what comes next for them? Right when everyone thought the night was over, after the lights faded, the fans left the arena, and the final set list wrapped up, there was one moment still lingering behind the curtains, a moment that only a few people witnessed, and now it's spreading like wildfire online. Because after all the clapping, all the hugging, and all the backstage laughter, Jungkook leaned in close to Jin, smiled like he was up to something, and said words that made even Jin raise his eyebrows in surprise. "Let's not wait too long next time. How about a duet?" Wait. What? Yes. That's right, the Golden Magne, fresh off his reaction high from watching Jin's solo performance of Spring Day, just hinted at something even bigger. And that small whisper might have changed everything. Let's back up. After Jin left the stage to a standing ovation and Jungkook greeted him like the proudest younger brother in the world, they spent a solid half-hour backstage talking, laughing, and even reviewing clips of the performance together. Jungkook couldn't stop complimenting Jin's breath control, vocal color, and confidence. "I swear," Jungkook said with a shake of his head, "you sound even better than before." Jin, of course, joked back, "That's what military push-ups do to your diaphragm." The two were unstoppable. And the staff? They knew better than to interrupt. Cameras were rolling, but this wasn't content. It was connection. Something real. Something rare. And then, right as Jin was about to leave the dressing room, Jungkook followed him to the hallway. That's where the whisper happened. Multiple staffers confirmed it. Jungkook leaned in close, nodded toward the stage still glowing in the distance, and with a cheeky grin said, "You know what would break the internet? Us. One mic. One harmony." Jin stopped walking. He turned, half smiling, half intrigued. "Are you serious?" he asked. Jungkook just laughed. "I've never been more serious." Now, was this just a playful exchange between two brothers? Maybe. But with Jungkook, playful can often mean planning. And with Jin back in full performance mode, and fans still losing their minds over the Spring Day surprise, you don't need to be a detective to see the pieces coming together. Social media blew up the moment a leaked staff clip caught part of the exchange. Jungkook walking backward as he called out to Jin. "Hyung." Think about it. Before doing a dramatic hand gesture like holding a mic to his heart, fans caught it. Armies decoded it. And theories exploded. Did a duet coming? Will Jungkook and Jin release a special version of Spring Day? Or is this leading to something brand new, an original track, a special stage, or even a mini live just for fans? The possibilities are endless. But one thing is absolutely clear. Jungkook wants more stages with Jin. More moments like this. More music that carries meaning, nostalgia, and their brotherhood in every note. And can you blame him? That night, Jin reminded everyone why he's called worldwide handsome. Not just for his looks, but for his presence. And Jungkook? He reminded us what makes BTS different from anyone else in the world. their unshakable connection, their joy when they're together, their ability to turn one simple song into a full circle, global celebration. Later that same night, Jungkook went live for a few minutes on Weverse. Just his face on screen, sitting casually, hair still slightly damp from the backstage rush. Fans expected a thank you, maybe a good night. But instead, he leaned closer to the camera and said, "Did you guys like Jin Hyun's performance? I loved it. You could feel it, right? That energy, that emotion, that history." He paused, smiled again, then added, "And who knows? Maybe next time it'll be two voices singing together." That was it. He ended the live with a wink. And the fandom exploded. Within hours, hashtags like hashtag Jungkook duet and hashtag Spring Day Part 2 were trending in over 30 countries. Fan artists began drawing posters for imaginary collab songs. TikTokers recreated Jungkook's expressions from the audience. And YouTube was flooded with compilations of every time Jungkook praised Jin since 2013. Because here's the thing, this moment felt different, not forced, not scripted, not business. Just Heart.2 brothers reunited, not just physically, but musically. And when you remember their past, the way Jin used to gently guide Jungkook in the early days, how Jungkook always admired Jin's steadiness and humor, it all starts to feel inevitable. Of course they'd sing together. Of course they'd surprise us, of course. Just when we thought the moment was over, Jungkook would drop one more spark to light a brand new fire. So what now? Will they really do it? Will Jin and Jungkook stand under the lights, side by side, and sing not as soloists, but as a duo? Just like old times, we don't have a confirmation yet, but we do have that look in Jungkook's eyes, that look that says, this story isn't done yet. And if we've learned anything from BTS over the past decade, it's this: when they start dropping hints, you'd better believe something big is coming.